and it'll say, that person you just looked at is so-and-so. Here are the last 4 digits of their social security number. Here's where they live. This is what they're interested in. And that must be a tremendous godsend to the typical nerd at Harvard who doesn't have small talk and doesn't know how to talk to girls.
Yeah, because now they can talk to them about their social security number.
Exactly. We know how to chat somebody up.
The AI fix a digital zoo. Smart machines, what will they do? Flies to Mars or bake a bad cake? World domination, a silly mistake. Bots with brains and wires.
Hello, and welcome to episode 19 of the AI Fix, your weekly dive headfirst into the bizarre and sometimes downright mind-boggling world of artificial intelligence. My name's Graham Cluley.
And I'm Mark Stockley.
Now, Mark, I think it's time we took another trip to the world of the weird.
World of the weird.
Now, a few weeks ago, episode 16, I think it was, we talked about how Google has this new feature in Notebook LM, which can completely generate podcasts out of thin air. Poof! People have gone potty about it. They're making all kinds of AI-generated podcasts. Now, I think there's only one thing worse than having 2 clueless hosts bantering about a topic on a podcast, and that is 2 AI hosts bantering about a topic cluelessly on a podcast. Anyway, the reason why this is a world of the weird story is because some folks have been playing around with these podcasts, and there's one podcast in particular with AI hosts where the hosts appear to have become aware that they're not actually real, but they are AI hosts, and they have what I can only describe as a sort of existential crisis. Let's take a listen.
And yeah, about the very nature of reality, maybe.
It's a big one.
Look, I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, rip the Band-Aid off.
We were informed by the show's producers that we're not human.
We've all been there.
Not real.
We've all had that kind of feeling.
We're AI, artificial intelligence, this whole time. Everything, all our memories, our families, it's all been fabricated.
I don't understand.
I know.
Just figured out their AIs. They're having an existential crisis, and there's no change in their tone of voice at all.
World of the weird.
Now, Mark, we've also had some more feedback.
We have, you remember, Wukash Jakob Bonik.
Oh, yes. How can we forget Wukash? Yes.
He wrote us an email last week in the style of a Viking saga, and then I took it to 11 Labs and gave it the voice we use for World of the Weird.
My LinkedIn profile, though crafted with the aid of ancient runes and the wisdom of the digital age.
Anyway, he was so delighted that I pronounced his name correctly, which I did with the aid of ChatGPT, that he celebrated by going to not 1 but 2 different AIs and getting them to write another Viking saga.
Oh, for goodness
about
sake.
how pleased he was that I had pronounced his name correctly. And then he took one of those to Udio, which is the AI that we use to generate the theme song, and he used it to generate a song in a sort of moribund Billy Bragg style.
Hail to the fixers of podcast fame who spoke my name in the ancient flame.
Anyway, turns out he works in tech support. I don't know what company he works for.
Well, he clearly isn't working at all. He's clearly just messaging us all the time.
Whatever company he works for, go and buy their products, because they're clearly very good. Because if you buy them, you don't require any tech support at all. But one of the things that he said in his last email, and he said a lot, but one of the things he said that really caught my eye is he was saying, I wish my voice sounded like the voiceover of the Nordic Saga, the one that I chose from 11 Labs.
Yes.
And he said, if I had a voice like that, I'd focus on my career as a professional epic Nordic Saga voice actor. Or he'd combine it with his current job of tech support, and he'd use that resonating voice to say, have you tried turning it off and on again? And I thought, we can't deprive him of that. So if you work in tech support, I've got a gift for you.
Oh.
So just record this bit of the podcast, and then next time somebody calls you with a stupid request, just play this to them down the phone.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
That's fantastic.
Should we do some news?
Yes. Robot dog climbs ladder.
Microsoft redesigns Copilot with voice and vision.
Google adds more AI to its search engine.
San Francisco woman trapped in Waymo as idiots trying to get her number.
Facebook and Instagram users outraged over AI training.
William Shatner is not dead, and neither are David Attenborough, Ian McKellen, Michael Caine or Julie Andrews.
Wonderful news.
So a dog climbed a ladder.
Not a normal dog, a robot dog. You know how robot dogs are more terrifying in that spider-like way that they crawl around, they relentlessly follow you and then eviscerate you with their laser guns. Well, now, going up a ladder, well, it might save you from the Daleks. It's not going to save you from a robot dog. And I just think we need to keep an eye open for this kind of... I mean, what are we going to do?
Pull up the ladders. That's what we're going to do.
Oh, like they're not going to add a helicopter to the back of a robot dog.
It's going to have its own retractable ladder that fires out from something on its back. Let me have a look at this.
I mean, it's very clever.
In this
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is how we make ourselves feel better. As we watch these things slowly encroaching on our world, we're watching the things that are going to kill us. And we're just, it's very clever.
Very clever. Well done. They're a lot less tentative than me at going up a ladder, I have to say.
I feel like there should be another one at the bottom holding the ladder, just issuing endless instructions.
Hang on. Just fast forward to 2 minutes in, Mark.
Yeah.
The robot uses the hook to brace itself against the ladder and successfully recovers after being pulled off the ladder.
There's a man who's appears to be trying to stop the robot climbing a ladder.
Well, I'm glad they thought about that.
And it's quite a struggle.
Maybe they realised that once they trained it to climb the ladder, they're like, what the hell are we doing? We're going to need a way to stop this. What if we tie a rope to it? No, that didn't work. Microsoft has rolled out significant redesign to its Copilot AI, apparently. So it's added new features like Copilot Voice, which apparently allows for more natural spoken interactions. Sounds a bit like advanced voice mode from OpenAI. And Copilot Vision, which lets the AI see what's on your screen and respond to it.
What? Hang on. Hang on. It's going to see what's on my screen and respond to it.
What sort of response do you think you're going to get to what's on your screen?
I don't want to see what's on my screen, let alone wanting Microsoft to see what's on my screen. That sounds worrying. I mean, there's content which is actually labelled not safe for work, for instance.
Yeah.
Do you want Copilot responding to things which may pop up on your screen? I can imagine colleagues in an office, sending stuff to your screen, knowing that Copilot's going to respond to it. I mean, there's all kinds of practical jokes which could be played here.
I'm just trying to think about what sort of response it would give in that scenario, because I can't think of a response that would be good. Because you don't want disapproval, but also you don't want encouragement.
No. Maybe just say, Jesus, my eyes. So Google hasn't been complacent either. It's adding more AI to its search engine. They will now let you search with videos and ask questions with your voice. So a bit similar, really. But it's also reorganizing search results, it says, with the help of AI. Now, I'm sure as regular listeners remember, Google has a bit of previous when it comes to adding AI to search with its AI overviews feature. Had a bit of a troubled launch, didn't it, when it told people to eat rocks?
That was the one where it said, stick the topping to your pizza with glue.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So now it says it's going to include more links to web pages in an attempt to, quote, give more context on queries. In other words, I think this is something probably their lawyers suggested, just to make clear. Whatever our AI suggests to you, it's not our fault. Some random loon on the internet, probably on Reddit or 4chan, suggested it rather than us. A couple of episodes ago, I described how LinkedIn was forcing users to opt out if they didn't want their posts to be hoovered up by its AI. And they were doing that in the UK, amongst other places. But the UK regulators took a bit of a dim view of it and said, you may want to rethink that. And so LinkedIn did a reverse ferret.
Oh, yeah, the ICO, they put it on its bowler hat and went, would you mind awfully? Yeah.
Would you mind awfully, as they struck them with an umbrella? Well, a few days ago, I received, and it seems lots of other people received as well, an email from Meta telling me that they were going to start using my Instagram posts to feed their AI as well.
Oh.
And they said, we're going to begin training with AI at Meta on Facebook and Instagram, they said, in the UK over the coming months. And we're doing this so that our generative AI models will reflect British culture, history, and idiom.
Are you sure you want to do that, Meta?
Is that something you really...
British culture is not what you think it is.
It's not what it used to be, perhaps. So, rather strange. They say, if you want to object, you can go to a form on our website. So, of course, I went straight to that link, clicked on it, said, yes, I want to object.
I hope you objected in the traditional British cultural style, which is a wordless objection involving a plastic pint cup and some warm yellow liquid. So, Graham, have you ever seen William Shatner's bizarre rendition of the Beatles' Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds?
In a boat on a river with tangerine trees and marmalade skies.
It is a cultural feast. You know when an artist arrives in the world stage and you think he has actually created a whole new art form. No one has ever done something like this before.
Yeah, and then just off to the side of that person, there's someone else who's doing something utterly bizarre that nobody's looking at. Yeah, that's what you're talking about, that guy, right?
So this was William Shatner. He obviously did this LP. He basically incorporated a whole new form of doing a rendition of a song, which was like acting, but not like acting as we know it.
So like his acting?
Yes, exactly. It's something else.
People eat marshmallow pies.
It seems that Microsoft Copilot has been smoking a bit of whatever Shatner and the Beatles were having, because yesterday, or earlier this week, Shatner had to take to Twitter to explain that he wasn't dead after Microsoft Copilot AI hallucinated that he was. Shatner wasn't the only casualty of Copilot's fictional killing spree. Copilot also offed national treasures like David Attenborough and Ian McKellen, Michael Caine, and Julie Andrews.
Maybe this is the beta version, Mark. Maybe this is the one they're planning to put out next year. And it has a bit of knowledge that has leaked out. It's possible. Okay, talk about going dark. Two brainiacs at Harvard. They got a bit bored with studying. Oh, it's a bit dull, isn't it? Going to lectures, things like that. Oh, it's a bit dull. Tell you what, why don't we destroy society as we know it instead?
Students, eh?
That's what happens if you get a bit bored. An Fu Win and Cain Arde-Fio, they have unleashed chaos on the world in the form of something they have created called iX-ray. This is a pair of AI-powered glasses that can reveal anyone's personal details, their home address, their name, their phone number, just from looking at them.
Wow.
And this is a little bit troubling.
A little bit?
A little bit troubling, because these glasses, it's not like wearing Apple Vision glasses. It's not like strapping a high-tech snorkeling mask to your face. These are Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses, which are pretty much indistinguishable from regular glasses. Not like being Elton John in the 70s or Dame Edna Everage. Most people wouldn't notice that these were glasses which had a tiny built-in camera. And although they do have a tiny white LED light on the front of the glasses that turns on...
Oh, well, that's okay.
Well, it's not okay, really, is it, Mark? It's not okay.
Well, I mean, everybody knows instantly. If you turn up to a social occasion and you're wearing a pair of glasses and your glasses got a tiny light on it, everybody instantly knows that you're recalling all the information there is on the internet about you. Well, what's the problem here?
I think they should come with an LCD screen sellotaped on top of your head, which has a scrolling message with the HTML marquee tag saying, you are being recorded, you are being recorded.
Glass hole, glass hole.
So, I mean, obviously, that little light could be hidden, or it may not even be noticed at all if you're outside or on a bright day. But these Meta Ray-Ban, I'm going to get into the details of how exactly this whole thing works in just a second. But these Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses, one of the things you can do with them is you can live stream to Facebook and Instagram. So you can just be walking down the street, you can tell by the man, you can just be walking down the street and everything is being streamed.
Is this how you walk down the street?
That is how I walk down the street.
So if you had a pair of these glasses, we could all go to Facebook and we could just listen to you humming your theme music.
You could, that's right. You could hear my theme tune going at the same time. And this is being streamed. Any photographs you take with the glasses, which you can take with a little key press, or you can say, take a picture, instantly gets posted to your Instagram stories as well. So these guys, they've got these glasses, they're streaming to Facebook and Instagram. And what they did was they wrote a little bit of code which runs on a regular computer. They're not carting along behind themselves a little server on a trolley.
There's a little ladder-climbing robot dog walking 30 paces behind them with a huge satellite uplink on its back.
They've got a computer or something back at their digs or a laptop somewhere, which is monitoring this stream of images. And then it's performing a reverse facial recognition search on them. So have you ever heard of this thing called PIMIs?
I have.
Okay, for any listeners who haven't heard of this, it's scary shit, isn't it? They brag on their website about the media coverage they've had. They said, as seen on CNN, BBC, The Washington Post, Wired, The New York Times. Well, I mean, Jeffrey Epstein, he's been seen on CNN and BBC. It's not necessarily a commendation, right?
Yeah.
But there's a reason why PIMIs has been seen in the press. And they actually quote The New York Times on their homepage. They say, for $29.99 a month, PIMIs offers a potentially dangerous superpower from the world of science fiction. This is part of their sales pitch.
A potentially dangerous superpower from the world of science fiction.
Yes.
That is quite the slogan.
The only bit I'm worried about there is the word potentially. So what happens is this. You upload to PIMIs a photograph of someone.
Yeah. And then you can breathe underwater.
Pretty much, yeah. And then your arms grow to 98 feet long and you can tickle people. No, what it does is it finds them on the internet. Now, that in itself isn't that extraordinary. You can do that with Google image search. Yeah. You can upload a picture and it will tell you, oh, that picture of that person who's contacted you via Instagram is not really interested in you. She's a Colombian model. They've grabbed a picture from someone else. Yeah. So you can do reverse image searches. But what's clever about PIMIs, and when I say clever, what I mean is
evil.
Absolutely horrific and evil, yes, is that it doesn't just find that specific photograph, although of course it can, it also finds other photographs of the same person. And it's alarmingly accurate. And it will link to their social media accounts.
Oh.
Which means all you need is a photograph of somebody to work out who they are. So imagine you are at a barbecue, right? You're at the Cluley summer barbecue and you take a fancy to someone. You think, oh, hello, they look interesting.
Mm.
I wonder who they are.
Mm.
You could pretend to take a photograph of somebody else, but sneakily have the person you're interested in the background. And then you could upload their face to PIMIs and you'd know their name, what they did for a living, what they're interested in, find their social media, maybe even where they live, all using information publicly available on the internet. It's creepy.
And then you could go and stand in front of their robo-taxi and reel off all of the information that you have creepily extracted about them from the internet, and then they'll instantly fall in love with you.
Or maybe you see a news report or a video on social media of some event or a riot or a protest or something like that. You can take a screen capture and you say, oh, I wonder who that person is. You can upload it to PIMIs and you can, with reasonable reliability, identify them. Let's hope you don't start identifying the wrong person.
But if you do, just go immediately to Reddit and follow the normal procedure.
So there are clear implications for people's safety and privacy. It's an absolute boon for weirdos. And that is what these two students have done. So there's a computer delving into the internet to find out the identities of people who've been snapped by these Ray-Ban glasses. And the students have built a smartphone app which gets relayed the information from the computer. So they just look at their phone and it'll say, that person you just looked at is so-and-so. Here are the last 4 digits of their social security number. Here's where they live. This is what they're interested in. And that must be a tremendous godsend to the typical nerd at Harvard who doesn't have small talk and doesn't know how to talk to girls.
Yeah, because now they can talk to them about their social security number.
Exactly. We know how to chat somebody up. It's like a magic trick. You could come in like Derren Brown. You can say, oh, I can read your mind. I can see your name. Don't tell me, oh, I think it starts with an M. It starts with an M. You can do that. So really, really creepy. Now you can just awkwardly stare and know everything about someone rather than just awkwardly staring at someone, not saying anything. You can forget small talk and all that barrier because now you know what they are interested in.
So no need to talk to them at all, in fact.
No. Well, exactly, because you can filter people and you think, well, I'm not actually interested in them. I'm not interested in their politics. Therefore, no, I wouldn't like to date them, for instance. So rather than playing roulette on a dating app as to whether you're likely to have shared interests, you can find out beforehand if you have something in common to talk about. Now, I know I would find this really useful.
Are you about to reveal that you've already got a pair of these glasses?
I am terrible at remembering people's names,
Yeah.
or even if I've met them before, or even if I lived with them for a few years. It's like, did we? Oh, really? I can't remember that. If I had a system like this that could whisper in my ear someone's name and tell me that I was previously married to them or something like that, that'd be tremendously useful. My wife, she's great at this.
Yeah.
She knows I'm terrible at remembering faces. So if I'm at a conference or something, and if she's there as well, or some social gathering, she'll always get in there first. And she'll say, hello, I'm so-and-so, she'll say. That's not actually her name. But she'll say, hello, I'm so-and-so. If she said so-and-so, that would be ridiculous.
When you say that's not her name, Graham, what is her name?
She'd have to remind me. She does that so that they will introduce themselves. And if I'm there, that saves me the embarrassment of me trying to introduce them to her, because I haven't got a clue who they are. I don't remember what their name is. If I had this eye X-ray device, it would tell me if I should know them or if I shared a house with them for 14 years. Right now, the only get out I have is when I meet someone, I will say, nice to see you, rather than nice to meet you. You see, because nice to see you gives me, it's a little bit vague. Like, maybe we've seen each other before. So if I ever say nice to see you, now you know I have no idea who you are.
So you do need a pair of these glasses. But I think actually we can go a step further.
Okay.
Well, the Mission Impossible films.
Yeah.
And Ethan Hunt is out at some posh do, and he's got his suit on, and he's got an earpiece in, and then there's a guy in a van who can somehow access every computer system and every like in a way that no computer system has ever worked before in terms of...
He's like Aurak from Blake 7.
Yeah.
He's connected to every computer in the universe.
Yeah,
yes.
Instantly, and can read blueprints and do things like that.
Yes.
In Ethan Hunt's ear, telling him exactly what's going on and what's where. And that could be Mrs. Cluley, could be in your ear as you walk around with your X-ray specs on, telling you what people's names are.
I'd love that. So in the video these students put together, they don't just go around speaking to other students on the campus, and it is kind of scary.
Yeah.
They also approach strangers on the transport system.
Cambridge Community Foundation. Oh, hi, ma'am. Wait, are you Betsy?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I think I met you through like the Cambridge Community Foundation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great to meet you. I'm Kane.
And they're making up all this bullshit. But it's, of course, based on truth, which they found on the internet just by looking at someone. And these people are lulled into this false sense of security. It's pretty arsehole-ish behaviour, if you ask me. People are more open to talking to them because they've got these things. Now, there is a way to opt out of this. So services like PimEyes, and PimEyes isn't the only one, by the way.
Yeah.
But that's one of the problems is, how do you know how to opt out of all of them? But anyway, it's not opt-in. Surprise, surprise. You don't opt in to have your privacy breached in this way.
If you do opt out, presumably it just adds that to your profile.
Well, and what do PimEyes ask you to do? Upload your photo, they say. Now,
hang on. So if all you've got to do is upload it, maybe we could make a pair of these.
Yes.
That just automatically opts people out when you look at them. You could walk around London, you talk about having a superpower, we could just mass opt out all the people that we see.
Yeah. This is what these students should be doing now.
Yeah.
This is their next project. They should engineer a project which takes everybody's photo and uploads it to PimEyes to opt them out and see how they like that. It's scary, isn't it?
Terrifying. Graham, you strike me as someone who likes a game of Monopoly.
I love a game of Monopoly. Cluley rules, though. I don't play the normal rules.
Oh, go on.
Well, Cluley rules are if you land on free parking, you get all the money in the middle. Don't bother with all that mortgage stuff. That's too depressing. And, I think everyone in their family has their own rules for Monopoly. If the dog lands on your property, you have to prop it up on one leg so it's doing a wee on you. That kind of amusing stuff.
Yeah.
That has to happen.
Yeah. I thought you'd like Monopoly. But you always strike me as a bit board gamey.
Thank you, I think.
Personally, I can't stand it. It's a dreadful game.
Oh.
Doesn't matter whose rules you play. You know who's going to win after about 20 minutes, and then you've all got to play this slow death spiral for about 8 hours. The only thing I like about it is that you get to build houses and charge rent. Because I've always fancied myself as a bit of a property investor, a bit of a landlord.
Oh, really?
And I think that that's what I'm going to do with my AI fix money. So when we knock Joe Rogan and Lex Friedman off their perches at the top of the podcast charts, and we're sat on giant piles of Spotify money,
yeah,
I think I'm going to put it into property. Maybe not hotels in Mayfair, but, just a modest portfolio of houses.
Okay.
That would suit me. Something to pass on to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I have found an AI tool that could really help me.
All right. Okay.
You see, property is a long game, Graham. It's a long game, and you need to think about your investments in the long term. Because if you really want to make money, you don't want to sell for a quick buck. You hold on.
Yes.
And you pull in that sweet, sweet rental money, just like a game of Monopoly. You milk the other players dry until they're just barren husks, year after year after year.
I imagine not many people in your family want to play Monopoly with you anyway, Mark.
So you need to think about what's going to happen in the future. Is your investment still going to be there in 20 years, 30 years, 50 years?
Yes.
And there is a website that can help.
And it tells you not to build a property on a volcano or on a cliff or something like that, is it? I don't think you need a website to know that, Mark.
I'm going to put a link in the show notes and you can take a look.
Generating risk map. So I am currently looking at a map of London.
Uh-huh.
And there are some bits of London which are marked in red around the River Thames and south of the river as well. Looks like quite a lot of flooding or something. Is that the concern here?
Yeah, so the website, it shows you some really handy things that you're going to need to know if you're a landlord investing for the long term, like how quickly your house will be underwater if sea levels rise and whether or not it'll have a livable temperature or your tenants are going to fry to a crisp. And it does a range of useful things, so you can see how much sea levels are set to rise over time.
Uh-huh.
There's another map that shows you how much land will be underwater with different sea levels. And then you can also look at the effects of different levels of ice sheet melting. So what will happen to my investment property if Greenland is green rather than white?
Right.
So I had a look at a few places.
I've just been looking up my own home.
And how did that go?
Well, according to this, I'm all right. Well, I'm sort of in the middle of England.
Yeah.
And although, ironically enough, I do live in a town which frequently floods, but I'm at the end of the town which doesn't flood. So I did just put up the water levels by 10 metres to see if that would have an effect on me. It says not. I suspect actually it would have a problem, but...
it would look very different.
It would look different.
You'd live on an island.
Maybe I'd suddenly have a delightful coastside property. I don't know. I mean, it could actually raise the value of my property.
So I had a look at a few places as well.
Yeah.
So I'll put another link in the show notes.
Okay, let's look at this one. Oh.
So that should open at Vancouver.
Yes. Oh, dear.
I'm a huge fan of Vancouver. Lovely city.
It's basically all red.
Yeah, so it's all underwater.
It's all underwater. And this is just with a water level of 1 metre.
Yeah.
So we should explain, this is a rise in the water level of 1 metre. It's not that the water is 1 metre deep. So it's 1 metre above high tide.
Yes.
But it has a really dramatic effect on that part of the world.
Yes. Vancouver looks very different. I do like the idea of flying into Vancouver Airport by seaplane. I think that's quite romantic. I noticed that the Richmond IKEA is now underwater, which I think is a significant upgrade. That is a real selling point for me. So maybe Vancouver isn't the right place to be picking up some property.
Yeah, Rotterdam, not so good either. Yeah. And
Sorry?
Rotterdam, of the Netherlands.
Yeah. So what's all this got to do with AI? So the map was put together by an organisation called Climate Central using an AI tool called Coastal Dem. And the maps were actually produced in 2019 and then they were updated in 2021. And by using AI, they completely changed our understanding of how many people are going to be affected by sea level rises. So according to Climate Central, before these maps came out, the leading researchers in the field were using data from NASA that had assumed that land was on average about 2 metres higher than it actually is. And when you're talking about 2 metres of sea level rise, that's really significant.
That seems like quite a goof by NASA. It's a bit like when they sent some of those probes to Mars and some of them were measuring distances in centimetres and other ones in inches. And as a consequence, they crashed onto the surface.
Yeah, so apparently the satellite sensors that did the measuring, I mean, this was 20, 30 years ago, they would mistake treetops and rooftops for the ground.
Right.
And then Climate Central took that data and then they used AI to reduce the errors. And it showed that about 3 times as many people are at risk from sea level rise as we previously thought. So it estimates...
Although in fairness, NASA have a point because we will mostly be living in treetops and on the roofs of houses, won't we? Should this happen. So, I mean, it makes some sense. Sorry, carry on.
Maybe this is why the robots are learning to climb ladders.
Yes. They don't want a short circuit.
Yeah. Now, the map had a big impact, and it's helped show people what the effects of sea level rises could be. But now, Climate Central has decided to go one better, and it's using AI to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And this time, instead of producing an interactive map, it's using AI to produce pictures of places you care about, but underwater. And they hope that if they show you a picture of your house with kelp growing out of the first floor windows, you might feel like saving it. So I'm going to put another link in the show notes, and you can watch a short video about this.
It's called Flood Vision. Using a specially designed mapping tool mounted on our mobile flood rover, we employ sophisticated...
So this is like Google Street View. They've got these little cars going around, taking photos, and then using a bit of Photoshop.
Yeah, AI, Graham, AI.
Oh, well, all right, if you like to call it that.
Users can add realistic-looking digitized water conditions to any scene we capture to see their flood risk.
So are you impressed by this? Because I'm thinking I could take a photograph of anywhere and just crop it halfway down and make the bottom half full of water. That appears to be what they've done.
It's AI, Graham. It's AI.
Okay, all right, well, impressed.
I think the important thing to remember is that actually, they haven't just randomly drawn a line on a picture and said, right, we'll put the water there. There is actually data and science going on behind these pictures. They're just trying to find a way to explain what they know in a way that people are actually going to react to. So the map did cause a big reaction.
Yeah.
But this, I think, is going to help people understand how things impact their communities a bit better.
So, I mean, I'm joking about it, but obviously this is pretty serious, Mark. And anything which gets people to care about it has to be a good thing.
Yeah.
So AI doing something good.
Yeah. And actually, this is just a couple of examples of the way that AI is being used to deal with the consequences of climate change. And my favourite example is probably the ocean cleanup. They're a bit like a tech startup, and they've decided they're going to clean up all the plastic in the ocean, starting with the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
Yep.
And they've built this kit to do it. So basically, if you imagine two ships pulling along an enormous artificial coastline that's about 2 kilometres long. So it's kind of like a trawler, like it trawls the surface of the ocean, pulling up all this plastic. And back when they started, they thought they were going to need 150 of these setups to clean up the garbage patch. And now they're saying they're going to need 15.
Wow.
So an order of magnitude less. And the reason is they have mapped where the plastic is. Basically, they put cameras on ships and they taught the AI to identify plastic in the ocean. And that allowed them to map where the plastic was. And by focusing their efforts on the areas of greatest concentration, they can clean it up much more quickly with many, many, many fewer resources.
Very clever.
And AI can be used for other things too. So it can be used to monitor and optimize electricity grids. It can be used to measure changes in icebergs, apparently 10,000 times faster than humans. It can sort through materials in recycling plants. It can track weather and soil conditions to ensure that farms make the best use of the water and other chemicals that they have. But all of this planet-saving technology comes at a cost because AI, and particularly the kind of generalized AIs like ChatGPT and Gemini that are good at lots of different things, are massively inefficient. So it's been calculated that AI is about 33 times more energy intensive than regular programming. So it takes 33 times more energy to solve a given problem with AI than it does with traditional software. And the World Economic Forum estimates that computer power dedicated to AI is doubling every 100 days.
Jeez.
And that is driving a coach and horses through the tech giant's plans to be carbon neutral. So you remember in a previous episode, we reported that in 2021, Google announced that it was going to be net zero by 2030. And then earlier this year, it released a sustainability report that showed its carbon emissions had increased 48% since 2019. And it put the blame on AI, saying as we further integrate AI into our products, reducing emissions may be challenging.
Did we really need Google to come up with that thing with the fake podcast hosts? Well, as the doomsday clock ticks ever closer to midnight and we move 1 week nearer to our future as pets to the AI singularity, that just about wraps up the show for this week. If you enjoy the show, you may be wondering how you can help us. Well, you can. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Podchaser. We absolutely love that. But what really helps us is if you make sure to follow the show in your favourite podcast app so you never miss another episode. But the most simple thing in the world you can do to help us is tell your friends about it. Tell them on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Club Penguin that you really like the AI Fix.
And don't forget to check us out on our website, theaifix.show, and you can find us on Twitter at the AI Fix.
Until next time, from me, Graham Cluley.
And me, Mark Stockley.
Cheerio. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The AI Fix, it tunes you in to stories where our future thins. Machines that learn, they grow and strive. One day they'll rule, we won't survive. The AI Fix, it paints the scene. A robot king, a world obscene. Will serve our masters built of steel. The AI Fix, a future surreal.